Imagine you're shooting like a multi-million-dollar live broadcast. Everything is perfectly choreographed. The talent is in position. The lighting is just flawless. And then your primary camera feed suddenly dies.
Oh, man.
Right. And it dies just because a standard flimsy HDMI cable wiggled out of its socket.
I mean, that is the ultimate nightmare scenario for any video engineer, truly.
Exactly. So, welcome to your custom deep dive. I'm your host, and today we are looking at a product spec page from HDTV Supply, specifically for the AJA HA5-12G Mini Converter.
Glad to be here to break this one down.
Yeah, and our mission today is to figure out exactly why this tiny piece of hardware, which comes in at a whopping $1,035, is an absolute necessity in professional video production.
It's a hefty price tag for a little box, yeah.
It really is. I have to admit, looking at that price, I was wondering, why can't I just buy a $15 adapter off Amazon to turn an HDMI plug into an SDI plug?
Well, because that $15 adapter is exactly what will cause your broadcast to fail.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so this HAA converter's primary job is taking a single HDMI 2.0 input from, consumer or prosumer gear and converting it into dual 12G SDI outputs for professional infrastructure.
So it's basically like a high-speed universal translator. It takes the consumer gear language and translates it for massive broadcast infrastructure.
That's a great way to look at it, because as you probably know, HDMI is fine for your living room, but it lacks a physical locking mechanism. Plus, its signal just degrades over long distances.
Right, it just drops off.
Exactly. SDI, on the other hand, gives you that secure locking connection, and it can handle massive cable runs. But this device isn't just a physical adapter changing the shape of a plug. It is essentially a high-speed data manager.
Okay, so keeping the signal alive over a 50-foot cable run is really only half the battle. Because the real stress test is the sheer volume of data being squeezed through that pipeline, especially when we step up to 4K video.
Oh, absolutely. And it has to do it without dropping a single frame. The specs actually note that this converter supports both DCI 4K and UHD 4K.
Which, wait, that raises an immediate issue for me. Aren't those just two different marketing terms for the exact same resolution?
You would think so, but no, they actually aren't the exact same shape.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so DCI is the theatrical cinema standard. That's 4096 by 2160 pixels. But UHD, which is the consumer TV standard, is slightly narrower at 3840 by 2160.
I see. So if you try to just jam one into the other, something has to give, like you'd lose part of the image.
Precisely. And this is really where the hardware earns its price tag. To bridge that gap, the device uses a method called two-sample interleave, or 2SI.
2SI, okay.
Right, so instead of just trying to force the pixels into a different box or, clumsily cropping the image, 2SI essentially breaks the 4K image down into 4 sub-images.
Wow.
Yeah. And it weaves them together. It's almost like a high-speed digital checkerboard. This lets the SDI infrastructure digest that massive pixel count smoothly, so it maps the source perfectly to the monitor.
That makes a lot more sense than just assuming it magically resizes things. It's actually actively sorting the data in real time.
Exactly. And it's managing this while seamlessly passing along high dynamic range, or HDR, InfoFrame data.
Right.
It injects that metadata straight into the SDI signal. So your colors, your brightness, and your contrast ratios all remain perfectly calibrated, even at a super heavy 60 frames per second.
Okay, but dealing with HDR metadata and 2SI checkerboards in a pristine lab is one thing. Doing it out in the field is another.
Very true.
Like if I'm out in the middle of the forest shooting a documentary where wall outlets simply don't exist, how am I even powering this thing?
That's where the DTAP cable option comes in.
Oh, okay.
It allows you to power the converter straight from a standard professional camera rig battery. And it's that kind of detail that really separates pro gear from consumer toys. You just aren't tethered to a wall.
So it's actually built for the physical realities of a live shoot.
Exactly.
I also noticed on the spec sheet there's this LED lock indicator. It glows amber for a 4K signal, red for HD, and green for standard definition.
Yeah, think about the environment you're working in. If you're an engineer troubleshooting in, like, a pitch black control tent.
Or a chaotic live studio.
Right. You absolutely don't have time to pull up some software menu just to check your signal type. Having that instant visual confirmation is a total lifesaver.
And it looks like it doesn't neglect the audio side of things either, right?
Not at all. It automatically maps up to 8 channels of embedded HDMI audio straight into the SDI output.
Okay, so you're not losing your entire sound mix when you convert the video.
Exactly. Plus, it has a 2-channel RCA analog input if you need it. It really covers all the bases. And, it's backed by a 5-year warranty, which speaks volumes about the rugged reliability they expect from this thing.
Yeah, you really need that peace of mind when you're bridging the gap between prosumer cameras and these massive broadcast switchers.
Without a doubt.
Well, it really is the unsung hero keeping the modern 4K HDR broadcasting world connected. But as we wrap up, that leaves me with one final thought for you to explore on your own.
Let's hear it.
As consumer-level HDMI technology continues to rapidly improve, handling heavier data pipelines entirely on its own, will the need for these physical professional bridges eventually disappear? Or will the broadcast world simply invent even heavier, more demanding data standards to stay one step ahead, ensuring we'll always need these world-class translators in the room? Something to think about.